Welcome to Chaotic Harmony. I am your one and only host, Angela Schultz. Since we just celebrated Mother's Day, I thought I would dedicate this entire episode to my children. It was inspired by a few questions that they tend to ask me more than they probably should, honestly. Sometimes I get asked these questions several times a month, a couple times a week, but if I'm on a roll, I get asked these questions daily. Goes something like this. Oh my god, mom, why you gotta be like that? Do you have to be so weird? Why? Just why? Well, the simple answer to all of those, honey, is because of you guys. Every single one of my children is to blame. Y'all took the mother I was going to be and somehow managed to bend me, twist me, and break me over time. Then, you weren't even finished with me. You molded me into who I am now. Y'all created this amazing masterpiece that you call Mama. As we once said, though, you get what you get and you don't throw a tiger. It's a family thing. Before I was even able to have children, I had a pretty good idea as to what kind of mother I wanted to be. I wanted to be that mother that woke up in the before the children and made them breakfast, and not just any kind of breakfast, this amazing breakfast with the blueberries and the pancakes that were shaped like Mickey with the faces. I was going to do that every single day. I was going to be that mother that was so involved with their education that I was not only in the PTA, but I was leading it and I was their freaking lunch lady. I was going to go on every single field trip that they ever had, and I was going to be the cool chaperone that every little kid wanted to be with, but they couldn't because I was too cool for them. I was going to be the mother that baked for days. I was gonna bake my ass off for all of the bake sales that my children's schools hosted. Even if that meant I was gonna be up all night, it didn't matter. There was gonna be cupcakes for days. I was going to be the best damn soccer mom on this planet. My vehicle would have had a cooler in the back that was just strictly for the children, loaded with all kinds of snacks and refreshments for during, before, after, whatever, the games. For any kid. Most of all, I was going to show my children how much they were loved every single day. Now, I started my motherhood off with a large bag that was filled to the brim with fucks. I had so many fucks to give. I gave so many fucks about everyone and everything. That even included their thoughts and their opinions. My version of motherhood had absolutely no room or no time for anything to affect that bag of fucks I had. Because I clearly knew what I valued and what I wanted to be like as a mother. My younger self was so naive. I didn't realize my own personality might affect that bag of fucks that I was holding on to until I started popping out children left and right. If I wasn't pregnant, I was nursing or pumping for a newborn. No joke. In 2003, I had the honor of birthing 3 children. You heard me correctly. I had my daughter in January, and my twin boys were born at the end of December. Fun fact, my daughter was born on my father's birthday, and my twins were born on my mother's birthday. I didn't ever put much thought into how crazy that was until my husband kept pointing it out like, that's got to be in the world record or something. And it is actually kind of messed up. But hey, at the end of the day, I never had to worry about getting my parents any gifts because I gave them the gift of life, right? Either way, I was absolutely terrified at the whole fact of having 3 kids in 1 year, but who wouldn't be? What woman on this earth would not be afraid of having that. That's 3 diapers, 3 asses to change, I should say. Not 3 diapers, 3 asses to change all day, every day. Oh, I was going to have 3 children that were only 11 months apart. And honestly, for 17 days, they are all the same age. I was 20 years old at the time, too. As much as I should have, it didn't matter. It didn't change anything that I had envisioned for myself as a mother. All of my fucks that were in that bag were still intact. I was going to be the picture perfect magazine cover poster board mother of the year. Nobody could ever tell me any different. I was obviously living in dreamland. The day I started to not give a fuck was the day a cashier whispered to me, hey, hun, I think you're leaking, as she pointed down towards my chest. I slowly looked down at my chest, and sure enough, she was absolutely correct. I had been walking around unknowingly showing the entire world, or the entire town, I was more than ready to be milked. My shirt had 2 large, wet, soaking wet circles around each breast. And it wasn't getting any better with every second that went by. I knew I wasn't going to be able to fix my milk leak until I got home. So I did the best I could with my situation. I owned that shit. I made sure to walk out of that store with my head held high. I made my way to my empty vehicle that was filled with completely silence and slowly drove home as my breast turned into a damn spray bottle. I didn't give a fuck that I was saturated in breast milk because I was alone for a few minutes in complete silence. That was amazing. Within 4 years, I managed to turn my house into a damn zoo. I was not raising these little humans. They were straight up wild animals. One child would run, they all would run. It was nonstop craziness until they would finally cave in and pass out wherever to recharge their damn batteries in order to start their shenanigans all over again. Any amount of dignity I thought that I had left was taken away from me the day that I was eating a chocolate candy bar while my ex-husband John drove us home from Walmart. I went to lick my chocolate covered fingers, and immediately I got this like nasty taste in my mouth. I stopped and I just kind of like stared at my fingers as he's driving, and I'm wondering, what the hell did I just lick? But before I could say anything, I have that face that says it all, okay? John began gagging. He knew what happened before I did. He put the hazard lights on and immediately got out of the van to puke on the side of the road. As he's puking on the side of the road, I'm still staring at my fingers. And that's when I put 2 and 2 together. Yes, it took me that long. I like to say it's because I'm blonde and Polish, okay? But I had changed a shit diaper, 2 of them actually, in the van before we left the Walmart parking lot to go home. So that means when I was eating my chocolate candy bar and it went onto my fingers, and then I went to lick it, yeah, I just licked my son's chocolate covered shit. I know that I wiped my hands off after I changed the diapers, but obviously not well enough. The fucked up part about this whole thing is I did not throw up. I was the one that licked it and tasted it and all that, and I didn't throw up. I did drink every last drop that I had in that soda, but I didn't throw up. John, on the other hand, puked his guts out for a long time before we got back on the road. He even gagged every once in a while on the way as we were making our way home. This is around the time that I stopped giving so many fucks. And I started realizing that I may have to go with the flow a bit more. I mean, think about it. Once you accidentally taste your son's shit that is covered in chocolate, what else can you do? As my children got older and bolder, my parenting got a little more loose and a bit more sarcastic. Now, I was always sarcastic, just a little bit, because that's how I got by in life. But it got worse as they got older. It's their fault. I blame them. Thank you, guys. I noticed it the day my daughter told me she was not having it. She was not happy with supper. So she was moving to my mother's house, her grandma. She was going to grandma's house. She threatened to walk the entire way there. I looked at her and I told her, well, you better pack quickly because it's getting dark out soon. This little girl just stared at me like I was crazy. Duh, I am crazy, but either way. Her eyes were welling up with tears, and then she ran upstairs to her room. I even yelled from the bottom of the stairs, already seeing that she was upset. I savagely yelled up, make sure you pack enough underwear. Now, I waited a few more minutes to pass, and then I went up to her room to check on her. That little shit had her suitcase all packed and ready to go. So I went along with it. She was. Honey, you better make sure you pack enough socks. You know, Grandma, she's always complaining about our socks. My daughter didn't say a damn word. She just grabbed a handful of socks with her tears coming down and shoved them in that pink suitcase. I helped her even zip the thing up, and I made sure she knew how much I loved her and how much I was going to miss her when she left. She attempted to give me a hug. It was more like a shoulder touch, but, I'm going to consider that a hug at that point. And then she marched herself downstairs. I quickly followed behind her, and I watched her open that front door very hesitantly, and I'm thinking, okay, this is where she's going to stop now. But nope, slams the door, and out she is. As soon as she got out there, she was walking as fast as she possibly could. I tried like hell to call her bluff this entire time. I mean, from the very beginning, I was trying to call her bluff. As she was packing, the whole thing. But she's made of my blood, and she didn't fall for it. Nope, not one bit. I even let her walk a little bit to see if she would turn around. She only turned around when I actually yelled at her that I was going to ground her. If she didn't get back home into the house, I was grounding her. She walked her little sass ass back home. She made sure I knew she was mad at me. I helped her pack, and that was not nice, Mama. That was not nice. She didn't think I loved her anymore. We had a long talk after that, and after that talk, she didn't threaten to move out. Well, not until she was at least 15. Being a boy mom to 5 boys comes with a cost. Your sanity. Well, I should say my sanity, because I was the one with the 5 boys. The thing is, they didn't take my sanity right away and run with it. No. They were sneaky about it. They slowly did stupid shit that eventually built up to where I sat there wondering, how did I get to this point? And it started with the collection of rocks. There were never enough rocks. I couldn't get rid of that one because if you looked the right way, it had a shine to it. And that rock, it had a crack that looked really cool. I felt like I had rocks coming out of my ass. And then the sticks and twigs started appearing in random spots inside the house. I would throw them outside in our yard, and as soon as I turned around, another damn stick somehow made its way into our house. I never got a straight answer as to who was bringing them the sticks inside, but every single boy made sure I was corrected. They were not sticks. They are swords or staffs, Mom. Get it right. One can only assume they were all bringing them in. And I cannot forget about the toads here, okay? Toads were just as bad as those damn rocks. One of them actually flew out at me when I opened the finished cycle of clothes from the washer. It was dead, but it somehow knew how to fly up into the freaking air into my face. Apparently, my son Garrett forgot he put one in his pocket. What the hell? Who's putting toads in their pockets? My kids, obviously. Do you see why I was not giving a fuck? Oh, and being a boy mom is the shit. Literally. I was the one that potty trained my boys. The one that made sure they lifted the seat. They aimed for the middle of the bowl. They flushed the toilet, put the seat down, and washed their hands. You would think that after doing this several times a day with 4 boys for what felt like an eternity, I was confident my boys were going to continue following that routine. We had it all in place. Nothing was going to be, going wrong with it. I never in my life at that point have heard of a toilet that was full of shit being considered a present to someone until my boys came along. This was something that happened more than I would love to admit, but my children ask me why I am the way I am, so I need to tell it all so that they completely understand. No shit on this God's green earth is a present. I never thought it was possible to fly off of a toilet seat before you even sat down on it until I had my boys. I will never know which one or how many of them pissed all over the toilet seat on a daily basis because they were a united troop. Tell no one. I woke up one morning and I heard one of my boys crying and kind of panicking. I jumped out of bed and I went straight to their room. And it was a bit dark out yet, so I went to the first bunk bed and I saw 2 little boys sleeping. So I went over to the second bunk bed and there was my son Maxwell, laying in fetal position and rocking his body back and forth. I felt really bad. I bent down and asked him what was wrong as I was rubbing his back for comfort, and he was mumbling something. I didn't hear him, so I asked him to repeat it, and that's when he decided to straighten his body out to show me the problem. It went everywhere. Mom, it went everywhere. The front of his t-shirt was soaked in piss. I was so confused. What did he mean by it went everywhere? I needed to know. So I walked out of the boys' room, leaving Maxwell in there, all alone. Well, not all alone, but, in his own piss. And I went to investigate our bathroom. Now, I stood in that doorway of the bathroom and I tried like hell to absorb everything that I was looking at. Maxwell was not wrong. It went everywhere. That is when I connected the dots and realized my little boy had just had his first morning wood. Sorry, Max. And didn't know how to handle it. The only way I can describe what happened is like this. He was an inexperienced fireman using the water hose for the first time, and the hose decided to take over. There was pee dripping from every possible spot around our toilet. Hell, he even managed to piss on the freaking window that was hard for us to reach. Now, I am happy to announce to y'all that he figured out how to hold the water hose, and we didn't have any more problems like that again. From him anyways. It was around the time the majority of our children started middle school that large bag of fucks that I had, and it was slowly going away, but it was around this time that I had accidentally let it fall over, and the fucks just were flying out everywhere. I didn't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. No, it wasn't one singular event that took place. If I had to guess, it was the hormones that our girls were ranging on and the testosterone our boys were walking around with. Our house was full of piss and vinegar. I'm not exactly sure why, but there was a day I was clearly feeling brave. Clearly. Because I thought it would be a great idea to take all 8 of these beasts that we made to the grocery store by myself. I thought. 2 key words. My husband always tells me, the problem is, honey, is you thought. And I'll give him that win. He was right. I thought. I just needed to pick up a few things. Now, my version of a few things is most likely an entire 2 weeks of food for some other family, but we had a lot of kids. I had these little shitheads sit in the van before we walked into the store and listen to me preach about how we needed to listen. Do not ask for anything. Keep all hands to yourselves, blah, blah, blah. They all were either shaking their heads, saying yeah, or rolling their eyes. I knew I at least had someone's attention, so I went with that. We got out of the van, and I was thinking, there I go again, thinking, the grocery shopping trip should be easy and fast. I got this. I got this. I got this. These adorable little shitheads of mine got a cart for me, walked into the store, and no more than 3 minutes later, a fight broke out. Someone grabbed the cheese for me when someone else wanted to. I kept my cool. It was just a cheese fight. No biggie. I handled it. I continued to truck along like this was going to be fine. Angie, you got this. It's just a little bit more. My inner child or cheerleader was saying, you got this. But I accidentally lost, and I'm saying accidentally, lost my shit the second we got to the meat department. A couple of our now monsters decided it would be a great idea to see how it felt to stick their fingers on the raw meat packages. But better yet, what does it actually feel like to touch the raw meat? With their ninja-like skills, they were able to poke holes in just about every raw meat package in a matter of seconds. I immediately saw the damage they caused and needed to get the hell out of there. I left that cart right where it was, and it was pretty full. It wasn't like extremely full, but it was there. And I left in that very spot that we were at, and I started walking out. I was not having it. I said something as I was walking away with my back turned towards them, saying, I hope they feed y'all. And I made my way to the exit. I didn't even check to see if all 8 were following me. That's how bad it was. I needed to get the hell out of there and never return. I did make sure to do a head count before I drove off, and surprisingly, they all took the hint. They were all there. That was when I decided I would never bring all 8 of them alone with me again. In public, anyway. Middle school was around the time some of our children started breaking out of their shells and trying to figure out who they were. I was a permanent stay-at-home mother at that point in our journey. That came in really handy for those times the school called. I believe I was on speed dial, and I am not shitting you. My son, Matthew, has a handful of issues, and I'm pretty sure he got them from me, but if he wasn't causing problems on the bus, he was causing problems at school. The school, and I'm only assuming this, caught on to me screening their calls. So they eventually stopped calling me. I wasn't trying to avoid their calls, okay? I was just trying to avoid the call because I wanted a break. Like, just give me a goddamn break. Hear me out. My son put the school on a lockdown because they couldn't find him. After 2 hours of being on lockdown, they found him. You want to know where he was? He was in the long, skinny, frickin' locker of his, sleeping. See why I may or may not have screened the calls? I wanted a break. I have so much more to share on Matthew, but I'm saving that for a later time. The thing is, though, Matthew's journey through school changed the way I looked at life drastically. So it wasn't all bad. I couldn't parent Matthew the way I would parent any other child. Growing up, I lived in this box where you couldn't be different. And if you were weird or an outcast, and like you would get the looks and all that. I didn't want that for my children, especially my son who has special problems. I wanted him to know that he was loved no matter what. So I did the best with what I could. Now, I didn't tolerate his behavior. I tried to fix that, but I still wanted him to know it was okay to be different and he was loved. This is also around the time in our journey where I started realizing I needed to live by the phrase, if you can't beat them, join them. My friend Lacey and I went to the local Goodwill store and found these awesome Donald Duck and Daisy Duck costumes. We were so excited about them that we not only tried them on right then and there at the store, but we also asked a stranger to take our photo because we needed to. We had people laughing throughout the store. Now, they may have been laughing at us, but we didn't give a fuck. These costumes needed to be ours, and we wanted to show the world how awesome we were for having them. Way before the kids got home, and I mean way before, Lacey and I had already had these amazing costumes on, and we were out in my yard just dancing around everywhere. If you had those costumes, you would understand. They gave you that power, that magic. You just wanted to dance everywhere. Those were the kind of costumes you should only dance around in. That's just my opinion. Time went by too damn fast for Lacey and I that day, and our fun was not over. Donald and Daisy were still on a roll. And so was the school bus because it stopped right there and it was full of my children and a few others that came. This did not stop Lacey and I. We were prancing around the yard, making noise and songs. And out of left field, my daughter jumped on me and fucking tackled me. Lacey, started laughing at it and continued on with her dancing. Well, I couldn't dance because my daughter made it very clear she was embarrassed. When she first jumped on me, I thought she was being playful. Instead, she was crying and tackling me down. Stop! You're embarrassing me! That. She wouldn't stop crying or tackling me down. I finally got up from the ground and went to our house. Donald did not allow that to stop her for a while. I didn't see her getting tackled, so why was I getting tackled? My daughter was worried about getting picked on in school, and I get that. I really do. To this day, I have never seen a mom dance around in a yard wearing a Daisy Duck or Donald Duck costume since. But did I stop her from embarrassing her at all? No. Shit, I embarrass myself almost daily. It's in my DNA. So let me be in a goddamn Daisy costume, Abigail. God, just saying. When I started joining our children in their madness, it wasn't to embarrass them. It was more or less a survival tactic. I highly recommend this to other mamas out there because honestly, it's the best. It's the easiest way to survive is to just join. Join them. Be weird, be crazy, be kid. Be a kid. Never lose that inner child, okay? COVID came along, because we all love COVID. It came along, and we had to wear masks. We all know that. My husband, even if he doesn't want to admit it, is about the same, or maybe a little less, I guess. I'll give him that. He's a little less and a little less weird than me. But he does buy the coolest things that we do not need ever. He bought these masks that were top notch. The masks came with these like goggles and a winter hat. The minute I saw them, I knew I was going to have fun with them. Make the most of any situation with whatever you got. But these freaking masks, oh my God. We put them on and we were messing around with the kids, taking pictures, the whole shebang. Then they were tossed into the closet and left there for some time. Well, one of our daughters had a date coming to the house to pick her up. She warned him. Yes, she warned him about us. I guess we got to that point where we were needing a warning label. I didn't know that, but I guess we were. And she made sure that we knew she warned him. I was like, what the hell? Why are you doing that? Why are you warning people? We're not weird. Mom, check yourself. Like, whatever. But that's the way that went. My husband got up real quick and grabbed those hats that with the goggles and the mask. Then I started geeking out. Well, he was warned, right? I kept talking about all this, what we can do and all that while her date was coming. Our daughter was on board with whatever we decided. In fact, she looked like she was extremely excited. And this is the same kid that was freaking out earlier about me being Daisy. Come on now. Anyway, her date showed up and we were already outside in position, and our daughter just, walked to his car all natural like. My husband and I waited until she got to a certain spot, and then we ran out yelling and screaming as we ran towards the car in our amazing goggle glasses, hat, mask things. Her date didn't look impressed. My husband and I, we were laughing our asses off. So it was a win for us. Our daughter didn't like him anyways, so I guess we helped her out, and it was a win for her too. I like to look at it as we helped scare him away. And we help scare most people away. So, why am I like this? Or, why am I weird? Why not be? Why should I change who I am, even if I am a mother, to please others, or to fit into your mold or your normal? If I was the mother I wanted to be from the very beginning, I don't think my children would be who they are. Honestly, with me being the way I was and my husband being the way he was, we opened it up to where our kids could be whoever the fuck they wanted to be. We let them express themselves, even when it's not in a good way, because they need to learn lessons. We let them get dirty. I didn't like it, but I managed to deal with it. I have OCD, that's why. Either way, we embraced it all because that's what we should be doing. We should not be putting our kids into a mold that we expect. No, our children should learn who they are. Let them make those mistakes. That's all I got to say. I'm done preaching. Oh my gosh. I want to take this time now to say happy belated Mother's Day to all the mamas out there, all kinds of mamas. Happy Mother's Day to my beautiful grandma. And most importantly, happy Mother's Day to the woman that brought me into this world. I love you endlessly. And I hope you hear that. Thank you so much for tuning in and supporting me on this adventure of mine. I appreciate every single fucking one of you that is listening. Now go out there and embrace the weird and make normal feel boring. Bye.